Tuesday. I'm
Okay,
actually
great.
with them on doing this Contact for Africa thing. So
I think we're going to have one person from Africa who's probably has no association with the UN Technology Bank, John Canary. Oh, sorry, my audio went on YouTube. There's a delay.
Hi.
he's waving his hand. Yeah.
Ah, how are you, John? There you are.
Good. I'm good.
Alex, John is also from Africa.
Yes.
He runs the Africa Free TON chat group.
Yep.
Excellent. So we know each other. So let's separate the base. We're in talks with the UN Technology Bank and Government Blockchain Association to do a global partnership for Africa. So let's touch base outside of this call.
Okay. Thank you. Let me get the lights on.
Pleasure to meet you visually now.
Oh, pleasure too.
Well, let's see. We're about 5 minutes in. What do you guys say? Should we start?
Yes, I think we can start.
Yeah. All right. Let me just welcome everybody to our weekly call, weekly free TON call. We're not going to have a lot of topics today, but the ones that we're going to have are going to be something worth discussing for a little bit of time. And secondly, very, very, very interesting. So the first one is going to be an update for, it's an update and discussion for validator contests. And more specifically, we're going to be talking about the Crystal game, which I think some of you already have heard a little bit about, been active on the forum. I understand it's garnered a lot of attention, so we're going to discuss that. Following that, we're going to discuss progress that's been done so far for the governance website, meaning there's going to be an update. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for new functionality, waiting for the site. And as I understand it, there are now enough things that we can actually mention them publicly. After that, we're going to have our usual Q&A. As per last week, we're going to break it into 3 parts. The first is going to be questions from the various chat groups in different geographical locations that run in different languages. As far as I understand, obviously we have John from Africa. We're also going to have Min from Korea, Isaac from Malta, Mikita from Ukraine, Mikhail from Canada, and Dario from Italy. And then finally, and then after that, we're going to do the usual Q&A from YouTube. And then I have a few questions that came in from our Iranian friends who also run a chat group, and I'll cover those last. So that's the agenda. Without further ado, let's get started on the validators contests. Who's going to start? Is that going to be you, Mitya? Or you, Pavel?
Well, I can just say a few words about technical aspects of that if needed. So and maybe give some update, also technical update about the like what happened, why we moved it one day, and so on. So let's start from that. So over the weekend, a critical bug has been discovered in one of the system contracts, which is the Elector contract. And that's a contract that Telegram team did. It's written in Fund C. And so we, but basically by like it's happened on Sunday when the election didn't happen actually on the mainnet because of this, sorry, on the testnet, on DevNet because of this bug. And kind of on Sunday evening, we knew what the bug was. And and on Monday morning, we basically went to sleep. On Monday morning, Nikita has just used the the hack to tweak network parameters, some of the network parameters, and that fixed the issue. It didn't fix the issue in the contract, but it did fix the issue on the network in a way. So, which basically just proves us yet again that every contract which is important need to be formally verified. And if the formal verification has been run on this contract, that would never happen. Which also adds to our roadmap probably, which I will edit now. And that will include the need to rewrite all the system contracts in some higher level languages, and formally verify them. And of course, there will be contests for that you can participate, and developers can participate in that. But nevertheless, so we're not going to fix that bug now in the contract. We just run with it as it, and we will probably need to rewrite the contract altogether. So we will be able to formally verify it effectively, because we cannot effectively, like, it will take just unnecessary amount of time to try to formally verify contracts written in low-level languages. That said, so because we kind of restarted the elections on Monday, we had to move one day further. So that's what we did. So the contest will start tomorrow. Let me share my screen, and I will just. There is now. Can you mute, please, if you're not talking? Thank you. So there is a new on the TON Live website. You now have a leaderboard. If you go to validators, you have a live leaderboard. And of course, first of all, I mean, this is a great honor, because we have already 312 validators right now already registered, and this number probably will grow next elections before basically the contest starts. So now you can see here all the leaderboard for the previous kind of week 0 test. Will be able to change that. You will see that this is normal validation, network load, high load, overload. These are the 4 contest stages. So you can switch with them once they're there. Of course, like tomorrow, this will be the default tab. And you will be able to see yourself here. Of course, if you take your whatever ADNL key or account and put it in the search. Now you will see yourself. Now one more thing to say is that right now, don't play too much with that, because after 100, you will see here, after probably around number 100, you will no longer see the blocks validated. And I will explain what it means and why you don't need to care currently. So here you see that it starts about 146. There are no uptime. That happens because the current network configuration, now that will be a little bit technical now, but I think it's important for validators. So the current configuration of the network is limited to 100 validators of the master chain. And since we are only counting master chain blocks, it's -1, we simply cannot count, you see here, we cannot count the blocks on the shard chain. So you're validating, you just don't validate master chains. But since the contest will only take into account the master chain blocks, because that's the only thing we can actually count effectively, we will simply increase the parameter tomorrow morning to include all the validators. So we are waiting for the final amount of validators who will register for the contest, who will be in the next election. and we will just increase the parameters of the master chain validators to include all the validators which will start to compete. So from that point, you will see you validating master chain blocks. Now, obviously, that has never been tried before, simply speaking. So that's an experiment. And this is a great way to start the contest from the experiment. Because up until now, only up to 100 validators were validating the master chain blocks. Now they will be increased to, I don't know how many, 400 maybe. Who knows? There are already more than 300. So we will see how that affects the network, which is kind of okay, fine. It may slow the master chain blocks release, but it also may increase the throughput in general. So when we start the superload, we will see maybe, and I'm just speculating, but maybe if the master chain holds, then maybe we'll go far beyond what has been achieved on the previous overload test run, where only about 100 validators participated. So let's see how the balance plays out. We cannot, like, it's very hard on the distributed systems. It's very hard to simulate this kind of conditions, probably impossible even. And so that's a totally awesome experiment. And if it holds, and if my prediction correct, we might break all the records of the throughput of the blockchain network in the real life scenario, because this is a real life scenario. We have validators all across the globe. You probably saw the map. It's all over, and this is a real test. I mean, it's a real scenario. That's how the network will run in real life on the main network, with many validators participating. So I think this is great. This is absolutely great news for Freeton. It's a great news for blockchains in general. Because the largest experiment, I think, on the high load network was conducted by Solana, and that was about 70 validators participating around the world. And all the other kind of experiments like that I know really achieved very slow throughputs, but not very slow, but not in the something we are aiming to achieve. So let's see how it plays out. I think that's it from me.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mitya. I just want to remind everybody that those of you who are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and post your questions there, and we'll try to get to them at the end. Now, did anybody else want to talk about this particular contest?
Yeah, Ron, Mitya, I think we should comment the table. We have new deadline table. I probably should share my screen as well. Okay. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So new timing. We have now. So we will have live stream starting from 11:30 a.m. UTC time on Wednesday. It is 24 minutes before you can send stakes for the next election round. So actually, we can, I mean, if you have some questions, problems, or that, I don't know, you can come and ask them on live stream. So it should last probably for an hour. So we will also have 40 minutes after. We'll have 40 minutes after the stakes start. So actually only at 9 p.m. ITC time validation starts for that set of validators who will send stakes during the period of time. So only after that you will see blocks, and you can see yourself on leaderboard. Okay, so final results will be calculated after you stop recovery amounts. It is the last. It is 25th of June. You see here at the right, 11 a.m. and it overlaps with the start of the next phase of the contest. And this is obvious because validating cycles, they are overlapping. So exactly the same for the next stage. So each end of previous stage, so final results you will get only after you after the next stage will start. Yeah, because you probably know that validator stakes from validators of the previous session, they reserved for some time in order to find not correctly signed blocks. Okay, this is it. If there are any questions, please go. Okay, looks like it is clear.
Does anybody have questions at all regarding this contest?
Maybe we'll have questions like from the stream later on, maybe.
Yeah. By the way, this table is placed in this validator contest proposal discussion on the forum, so you can see Ron placed it a day ago. So all other terms which are in the at the top of that discussion, they are the same. So only table changed. Okay, great. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Pavel. All right. Just making a note. All right. Anything else to add? Validator contests, the crystal game. There was a lot of activity on the forum, so I would have guessed there would have probably been a lot of questions. But then again, I think it's self-explanatory. So if you do have questions, just post them, like Pavel said and Mitya said, on the YouTube chat. Okay, let's move on regarding progress on the governance website.
Yeah, so it's okay. Let me explain what is going on. So we have a TON.org contest website, and as you all familiar with that, which we just kind of, it's TON Labs did it. We just tried to do that as fast as possible, and just to basically close the gaps and provide some tools for community to vote. Of course, this is not in any way ideal to run this going forward. So there are guys who, again, we're not presenting anything from the third parties usually on the call like that, but sometimes we do, and they will present the solution once it's fully ready, of course. But I just wanted to show some progress that they're making with this with the website that they propose to use for the governance. And this again, this is don't look at the designs. It's just a work in progress, really, and just wanted to show you the progress. And it's a combined kind of discussion forum with the groups, and so it's filtering the context and filtering it with the groups and topics for discussion. But what it's doing also, it's already integrated with SMV voting So soft majority voting smart contracts that have been developed internally by TON Labs, they have been deployed testing. Some of them they've been deploying. There's work in progress about SMBs, and the guys just connected that. So right now you can actually make a proposal, and let's see if there are some, I think, active proposals. Yeah. So and actually you can vote. It works. Take your private key and you can take the ballot, and it really does work. There is some, I think, so some of the proposals that has been already yeah, here you go. So there's already undergoing, and so on and so forth. So this is I think we need to make a contest for this but I thought that we will have what it's called, the contest for the idea management solutions, right? But we have prolonged that contest right now.
It was only for design and for ideas.
Yeah, I know for design and for ideas, but we have prolonged it, right? So when it's
actually it's finished already. It's already finished. Yes.
So they have, I think they have also submitted their proposal for this system, but they also kind of continue to build this system actually, and based on this proposal. So I think we need to, once we have the this closed, we need to make a next contest for the system itself. And again, so here we have people who are ready to participate, already kind of participating in a way in that. And of course, they will finish, by then they will finish kind of beautifying this. And it's actually a pretty nice system. And once it's fully done, again, I think we then may decide to kind of discuss it and if we can use it in our processes, because that can because right now what we have, and that was pointed out in this idea management solution contest, that we kind of have a forum in one place and then some sort of system for the voting in another place, which nobody really kind of a very small amount of people will understand how it works. Basically here it's just one site where you can do all of it, and you can create groups, discussion groups, and you can create jury groups, open and closed groups of the different users, and everyone can do that. And then the smart contracts are connected to that. So starting from soft majority voting, smart contract for kind of big decisions, and then the contests. You can turn, actually, I think you can turn, oops, sorry, what's that? This was too fast. You can turn this, any comment under an approved proposal can be turned into contest submissions. I think that's what their idea is. So anyway, so that's about it. So thank you guys very much for your work. I mean, I know that guys worked really hard because I know that because they kind of posted a lot of technical questions to TON Labs, to the SDK team, and to the smart contract team. And they really worked at nights just so they asked me to present this today. And so again, thank you very much for your work. It's really great. And I hope that let's create this contest, and let's do other people come up with ideas as well. So thank you.
Okay, Mitya, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, it looks nice. I 100% agree that we need some new platform where voting, jury process, and discussion integrated. At the same time, I would like to say that we need to. So since all those processes are not that simple, of course we could have some straightforward contests, but the more complex, the more detailed contests we will have. For example, developers contests where you should have high qualified juries because it's not possible to have all token holders voting for who is the winner. So it means that we should test this new process on some examples. So I propose once this will be ready at a level that we can use it for some real life case, we could probably vote and use it for a number of simple contest discussions. Yeah, because what is I mean, so many people tried to solve this problem before. I actually spent quite a lot of time reading submissions for this IMS contest, and there are a number of systems which were proposed, and I understand that we are not the first who doing this. A lot of people tried, and I'm sure that having this very powerful tool, FreeTON as a backend for this skin in the game logic, we can do better. But still, I mean, this is 10,000-year lasting experiment with all power delegation and all decision making. So I'm not sure that in a couple of weeks we can solve it and come to an ideal solution.
Yeah, sure. The good thing about the platform is that it's flexible and can support different kind of ways and different kind of whatever we decide we want to try. We need to have a platform that can support all this different types of decision-making process that we want to implement. So kind of we can try different contracts, the platform itself. I think the whole idea of that is to have topics and groups of people and then connecting with smart contracts easily from there. So that's really the whole point of, I think, having a platform which we can tweak to the needs of our processes.
Yeah, and I guess it will be open sourced, so it means that you can do. So at the end, everyone can fork that software, and once we'll have some system of smart contracts on FreeTON, then you can even do for different communities, different interfaces, which will fit your needs. So yeah, it's absolutely great direction, and hopefully we'll get success in that direction.
Okay, fantastic. Any comments or questions? All right. Well, we're making very good time today, so I think we can move on to, unless anybody else has anything to say, we're going to go ahead and move to the question and answer session of our weekly meeting. So let's first begin with some folks from FreeTON communities across the world. I understand a few of you might have questions. John, Mikhail, who else is here? I can see there's one other, Isaac from Malta. So we have Malta, we have Canada, we have Africa. If you have questions, please, now's the time.
Hi guys, it's Isaac from SimpliVC in Malta. No questions. Cheers. Just wanted to mention that we managed to successfully start our node. We got elected yesterday, so we're quite happy about that. And we would like to make some changes to the documentation. And if there's any process we should follow to do so.
Hi, Isaac. Well, great to meet you in the chat. Yeah. The first thing we thought, and on Sunday before we went and actually look into the contract, we thought there was an attack on the network, on the particular on the elections. And so I think it was one of our community supporters pointed out to the fact that Stanislav, actually, really nice guy who is doing a lot of supporting the validators and providing this incredible statistics about validators coverage and all of that, and also created great chat bot for the validator statistics. So he pointed out that there was about, like, I don't know, 200 messages from the same IP address, different ports. And we quickly realized that it was you. It's coming from your domain. So we kind of started to thinking, that someone purposely or kind of impurposely created many validator nodes. And then we know that if you create like 30% of validators nodes and put it in the cluster, and then you disconnect that cluster, many things can happen. So we thought maybe it's an honest mistake or anything like that. But anyway, so the messages existed, but it wasn't any malicious attack or anything like that. But anyway, it's good. I think we discovered some of these I don't know, unnecessary ports open in your system or something. I don't know.
Well, there was actually no one. We only had one port open. It's because our node is behind NAT, so we have a NAT on the firewall. Basically, we don't give a public IP to our VMs. So we put the public IP on the firewall, and then we NAT to a private IP to protect the VMs, so they're always behind the firewall. And there was only one port open, which is 303.1.0 from the firewall to the VM. But what happens behind NAT is that the virtual machine talks to the firewall, which opens a port, and then the firewall opens a different port to the server it's talking to. So there's a lot of ports open internally, but it's something in the IP header that it shows different ports, but it doesn't mean that there's a lot of nodes running. So we only had one node running behind that IP.
So did you manage to actually make it work, this node?
Yes.
Behind the firewall?
Yes, it's working now. It got elected this morning.
Oh, great.
The problem was we misread the documentation, and we signed the wrong custodian on the keys. That's why I would like to modify the documentation to make the steps, because the documentation kind of points you to another document, and then the document points you to another document. So we'd like to put all the steps in one document and explain what's happening.
Sure. Okay, the process. We're moving now to GitHub for all the documentation. Right now, it's on the some system zero height. It's called, for the documentation. We're moving to the GitHub. So I will actually make contact between you and our technical writer. So maybe this will be the fastest right now, before we move all the documents to GitHub, where you will be able just to obviously commit. And that's all. So I'll make a contact and today, and you can talk with Alexandra is her name. So take it from here. Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thanks for being patient with us and helping us get there. But we're finally now, I think we learned so much about FreeTON that we can actually start helping people. So
great.
We're happy to be in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac.
Cheers.
Okay. Mikhail Hakhlov from Canada. Any questions at all from our Canadian friends?
Yeah, why not? Guys, the question was leaderboard, right? So how accurate is that?
How accurate is that? You can check. I mean, it should be very accurate, but obviously you can always check, because we're getting the information from the blockchain, and it's all there. So if you go and query with any other tool or with any tool you want, the blockchain, get the blocks for your but signed by the key of your validator, and you just you can compare. But generally, it's like we're taking it from the database, which takes it from the node, and then the formula it has been published, and we will publish it tomorrow. Like on, I think, so you can go and query. You can use GraphQL for querying yourself, getting the results. So you can check it, no problem. Of course, I mean like mistakes are possible, but only in a way of like database, not taking block, for example, or something like that, which something we probably will detect quite fast. And then there are several databases, not one. So, and several nodes working. So we have 2 clusters pointing to the network, each cluster running 3 nodes simultaneously, each of the node taking different blocks and processing them, so to the database. So it's a kind of scaled that way, and the glitches can happen, particularly under the heavy load, obviously, which we will expect to do. But in the end, after the anyway, the blocks will be in the blockchain. So after the contest stop, we can then go and verify the blocks, the signatures, and recount if needed.
So technically, it's not real time, right? So
it is real time. It is real time, yeah. So how do you define real time? It's a real time, yeah. It's the node is constantly in real time. Like if you go to TON.live and you make an update, real time update, you will see the blocks and the message is coming in real time. So as real time as possible, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I mean, you can take, sorry, I mean, you can take your validator node, for example, query from there, and compare, obviously, and again run it through the formula, and verify. Sure.
Right.
But you have to, sorry, you have to. I mean, because people are like, you probably don't realize what will happen in week like 3 or 4. Is that there will be conditions, there will be unstable conditions where we don't know what will happen, but if the network stops meaning as in cannot process next block because of the high load, then we will have to kind of decide, but we will do it live on the live stream. And obviously in that kind of conditions, the nodes, like everything is glitching. So there may be blocks which are not coming to the database because the node is already, stuck with a query. But so we will discuss it when it comes. There is some uncertainty there where we put the end. Like if the network stops, what will, like, until we will have to recover the blocks once it stops, but let's not worry about that now. We have 4 weeks to go before that. So 3 weeks, something. And the final overload will be in real time and in live stream. So we will all can discuss that then, and we'll see what's happening.
Good. If you have like few nodes, for any way to get the statistics on each node and then just get an average, because I just wanted to see the statistics for only one node for now, but not for both.
When you say statistics, you mean like?
Like I have 2 servers, for instance. I have 1 address, right? So can I get the statistics for each of it? And
yeah, but
somehow?
You have 2 addresses. You have 1 validator wallet address, but you have 2 addresses for the ADNL addresses for the nodes, obviously. So you can go to each of the node, and if you install on this node the Light server, for example, then you can query that with the Light client, for example, and get some statistics out of there, whatever.
Is it something for leaderboard? No.
No, leaderboard doesn't work like that. But you can see all the signed blocks and take this as a table of the sign blocks there and sign blocks and through the GraphQL and get the really, good picture, I think.
Thanks.
All right. All right. Thank you for your questions. And hi to everybody in Canada.
But the reason we're not doing this for the
Here we go.
light, yeah, it's just the reason we're not doing this for the light server because light server cannot withstand the load like that. Just it's stops on certain point, and so like that's why. So we had to create a more way more performant kind of messaging system for getting the real-time messages from the node.
So, but if you're going to find any errors, where we can send the errors, I mean, in terms of the statistics?
Again, we will all discuss that together. The decision will be like we will put all the information out there. If anyone find any error, the blocks are on the blockchain, so it's easy to. There are proofs with each block, so you can easily prove that. For example, someone missed the block or something like that, or missed the signature. I mean, we can. It's all verifiable information. So just post it on the forum, and well anyway after this whole thing ends, we will have time to calculate, to count, to correct errors, and so we will take some time for that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we're moving on. All right. By the way, yes. So, John, did you have any questions or any comments or anything? John from John Canary? If not, what I wanted to suggest is maybe if you go to maybe. Yes. Hi.
Yes. It's a pleasure to be with you guys today. It's my first time.
Welcome.
Yeah, so I'm just like a guest today. So maybe next time I'll have questions and get. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just wanted to also direct your attention to forum.freeton.org. I don't know if you've been there. Have you been to the forum yet?
Ron, can I quickly comment on what's happening in Africa?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Just a quick comment. First of all, John, it's a pleasure to meet you visually. I guess you followed that we as a community are building a partnership with the Government Blockchain Association out of the US, which has a chapter in Africa, led by Ngueti Arman, who is joining us on this effort. And then also with the United Nations Technology Bank, led by Joshua Setipa, a person from Lesotho, a bank that is mission to help 47 least developed nations, some of which come from Africa, to bridge the technology gap. So that's a kind of a Freeton GBA / UN Technology Bank partnership, which is emerging very promising. And I sent you a couple of invitations into the GBA chat that we have. But basically, just a couple of quick updates. We agreed to exchange the user base. So Freeton African chat, which is developing quite nicely thanks to your leadership, more than 120 people already from what I saw. And also GBA is doing chapter in each country. So we're going to be kind of doing a lot of stuff together and exchanging also the user base. So it's surprisingly, Africa can be, not surprisingly actually, I'm personally a big believer, can be one of the most active communities around the world. So
Alex, I apologize, I'm going to interject. I'm not sure if John's part of that discussion group. John?
I invited him. That's what.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Great. Excellent. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Over to you, Ron.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, well, with that, I guess what I wanted to say is that it would be a good idea if you actually go to here. I'll drop the link in today's chat. Hang on one sec. Yep. Okay, and there it is. Okay. If you go there, you can look at how contests are proposed, and we're thinking about, maybe just do some brainstorming and think about what kind of a contest would help grow the community in Africa. and make a proposal, because it's really important for us to start getting a lot of activity on the forum from all of the different demographics, all the different geographies, and this is a good way to actually get users involved, and of course make some tokens in the process. So have a look at that, just you know, for your own information, study it a little bit and see if there's something that you can come up with. Okay, great. All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes, for sure.
I'll do that.
Yep,
No
sure.
problem.
Okay, great. So I can hear myself. Hang on one second. Remove the chat. Okay. Now, I guess we don't have anyone else from anywhere where we were expecting from Korea. I guess Korea didn't make it. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. So let's move toward questions on YouTube. Let's move here. Okay, we don't have too many, but the ones that we have, let's see. One comes from Alex Rudd. Ah, yes, I know who you are. He says, is it possible to voice a request off topic? If you have free time, please discuss the extension contest, decentralized promotion. Thank you. Okay, yeah, let me actually go to that request in the forum. So I'm not going to share my screen. I'm just going to read it. The gentleman says, hi, please extend the contest, namely decentralized promotion, for several reasons. Reason one, I personally made many efforts in creating advertising free ton, creating content, advertising free ton, consciously went for tricks, reverse shilling in chats of the largest exchanges, and I was able to post my work on the forum on time, but didn't make it to submission. Reason number two, only 24 people are registered in the contest, but there are 30 prizes available, although the forum has a lot more ideas. It is necessary to give people a chance to formalize and adequately perform in the competition. And number three, promotion should not stop, and many people are ready to continue to advertise free time. Okay, so let me address those questions one by one. So first of all, yes, I know this is not the first time we're running into an issue where somebody didn't make the submission deadline, and I know it's a pain, and I personally feel your pain, and there are several people here that will attest to my own involvement in trying to cure that pain. But the fact of the matter is, a submission time is a submission time. We can't just make exceptions. If we start making exceptions for each individual case, I'm sure you can imagine the chaos that's going to ensue. However, the contests are going to continue. So first of all, there's going to be a decentralized promotion contest that's going to be basically phase 3. And you're welcome to participate in that, and you're welcome to make your submissions, so you won't have any problems. So it won't be an extension of the contest. It'll just be a new contest with new dates. And there you go. You'll be able to participate in that. No harm, no foul. But extending post facto is just something where the community is not going to be able to tolerate, because if we do it once, we have to do it all the time. And I'm sure you understand that. As to your second point, only 24 people are registered in this contest. Yes, that's correct. So there were 30 prizes available. Only 24 submissions were made. Hence, there's only going to be 24 prizes. I mean, that's just the way it works. But again, it's because the contests are going to be repeated and some are going to be ongoing. It's not going to matter. So again, we'll have the contest up, and I'll try to get it done as soon as possible. Maybe give me a day or two and I'll have a new contest up and you can join, and good luck to you. All right. And so promotion should not stop, and many people are ready to continue to advertise. I guess I already answered that question. Yes, absolutely. 100% agree. And they won't stop. And we're going to get more creative, and there's going to be different types of contests. We have some interesting ideas in the works. And obviously you're also welcome to produce your own. So make suggestions. Hope I answered that question. Let's move on to, okay, I think we're now getting some questions back to regarding the validation contest. What about those 2 rules which are described underneath the table? So he's referring to the Crystal game timetable, and there are 2 questions under it. Let me go to that. Let me share my screen. All right, can everybody see that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mitya or Pavel, do you want to address the two questions? So the first question underneath the table, all stakes and rewards from previous validation rounds should be requested from the elector contract before the quote, start recovered amounts counting, unquote, deadline of the relevant contest week. And two, the participants have time to recover their stakes and rewards from the last validation round of the week before the quote, again, stop recovered amounts counting deadline. Can you just address those? I guess the question is, what do they mean?
Yeah, I mentioned before that since stakes from validating round, they remain in the contract sometime after a new set of validators actually started validation. So you should not forget to take them back, because if you will, then it will not be counted as received from you, but received by you.
Okay.
Yeah, Mitya. Yeah, probably Mitya can add more technical details about it.
Could you, Mitya?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Since you can get rewards from the previous validation inside the contest, and they will be automatically counted, we will disqualify you more or less if we kind of see that. And the reason is that it will be very hard to distinguish between the two, between the rewards, because that will involve like kind of really complicated calculations sometimes. And we don't want to do that. So instead, we want you to recover all the amounts before the contest. Very simple. And that's it. So you should send the messages and for the recovery of the stakes to the elector contract before the contest start. It's quite simple.
Mitya,
Okay.
I guess when you're talking about contest, you're talking about validating phase, new validating phase, because
Yes, of course. When the validation starts, actually, before the validation of your node starts.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Hope that answers your question. Next question. How will distinguished teams, okay, this is obviously for the crystal game again, for the validator cards. How will distinguished teams, okay, let me try to paraphrase this or rephrase. How will teams be distinguished in terms of each player running a node, and how the player running the node and can validate him, referring to KYC, or maybe I do not understand what is moderate KYC. Okay, let me try to.
Okay, I kind of.
You got it. Okay,
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, and we're not going to comment on that right now. And the reason why I think the only ones in this kind of games, which say that we will perform the KYC just for the winners and after the contest. And the reason for that is precisely because we do not want to kind of, I mean, you understand the reason behind all that. It's not because we want to know who you are. It's because we want to be sure you're not colluded with 100 other nodes, and we have a really decentralized network. In order to do that, we just need to make sure that there are, as the groups that running the validator nodes are not connected, or the teams who are running the validator node, or the individuals who are running the validator nodes are not connected in a way that they can create a substantial group of nodes on the network and collude. So because in order to start the economics game we need to create an economy, and since we don't have an economy currently, it's very easy to create, for example, nothing at stake or something like that attack, and so there is only one way to kind of do that, is to try as much as possible to really check if the validators who will form the core of this network, remind you, and who will be responsible for this network decentralization properties are truly, well,
independent.
not independent and not connected. Yeah. And so we will not answer any questions regarding the KYC. We simply won't answer them. And moderate KYC, meaning that, that it's not, it won't be really kind of, I don't know.
It's not about, again, knowing you. It's about understanding that you're not colluded. So the more signs of collusion we will have, the more we can ask to check. For example, if you like have one IP address or some, okay, I will not comment on that, but you can imagine how we can see that some validators looks controlled by one group of people. You can imagine.
Yeah. So no comments, guys. Sorry. I mean, but you understand the reasoning behind that, and of course, the KYC itself will be not conducted by a particular party. I mean, it will be conducted decentralized in a decentralized fashion by different current validators, and so it's not that we will kind of want to collect the data, or there will be no party who will collect any data from you. So again, it's just a check which someone performs. Someone from current validators can perform this check, or a third party who is kind of specializing in that, and and basically things like that.
I have a question, guys, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
Of course.
So we're a node operator. We run multiple blockchains for some clients. Would that be considered as a Sybil attack if we run somebody else's node? We won't obviously hold the private keys of their wallets, but we could potentially run a validator. Would that be within the rules of the competition?
It's a good question. It really depends, and I think we don't have a rules. We kind of have common sense, I think, and we need to take. That's my opinion, but again, it's up to voting. I think we need to take it case by case. If you're a known validator, this is your business model. You're not hiding that. We know, and you're not holding potentially, I don't know, 30% of the network. Then I don't think there is a problem. But again, need to take it case by case. And again, are you talking about participating in the contest on behalf of someone else?
We have no request to do so at the moment, but I'm just speaking out loud, because like on other test nets we've been asked to, or main nets we've been asked to run validators for third parties. So I'm just seeing both in mainnet and the test net what would happen. No,
I mean, we're talking about contest right now. So if after the contest, then it's a free world. If obviously there are validators who will run validators for someone else. There are services, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's technically impossible to prevent that. I mean,
exactly.
What we can prevent only distribution of rewards, but. So once we distribute rewards, then nobody can prevent participating in validation, because it's the rules of the blockchain.
Yeah,
it's decentralized.
What is really important is sorry.
So what you mentioned about decentralization, we also take notice of that, and we never run more than 5% of the network through the same data center. So we have multiple nodes running in other data centers. We don't use the cloud, and we have our own servers. So we always make sure that we're not running like 30% or 40% of the network on, I don't know, Vultr or something like that. We also would like to point out that in light of decentralization, not everybody should be running on these cheap VMs and in the clouds. If we really want to have a truly decentralized network, people should run nodes in different clouds, because I've been in many chats where everybody's running a €5 VM on DigitalOcean or Droplets. And if these providers have a problem, then that's going to cause a massive problem on the blockchain. This happened with AWS once, brought down a whole blockchain. So, I don't know if there's anything in the protocol that could prevent that, but it's definitely a nice idea to look into.
Yeah, absolutely. And but currently we have a very nice distribution. If I can quickly, I don't know, did you see that? I mean, that was in the chats, I think.
Yes, I think I've come across it.
Yeah, so I think that's the distribution is quite nice.
But still, DigitalOcean is number one. So in that respect, I mean, they quite significant portion of the network.
Yeah, but still, there are a lot of other providers in the network. I from what I saw from the latest statistics in the validators, I didn't really see there a big problem that even if DigitalOcean pull the plugs, nothing will happen to the network.
Yeah, even DigitalOcean below 30%, that's for sure.
But probably not in one location. They probably have multiple locations, so it's not that much of an issue. But again, if there had to be a problem with DigitalOcean, that could cause significant outages, perhaps.
Well, the good thing about this blockchain is it needs. I mean, probably the people who run on DigitalOcean, I mean, it will be very hard for them to win the contest. so in a way that protects somehow, because it generates a lot of traffic, and it can be quite hard on the hardware requirements, and you need a high quality, probably some high quality servers, and also some bandwidth. So I think that's kind of already preventing really a kind of data center like Hetzner, for example, from having significant portion of validators.
Okay, thank you, Mitya. The gentleman that asked the KYC question, or I'm sorry, the individual, I don't know if you're a gentleman, sorry, figure of speech, continues and responds to you, Miki. He says, of course, I think that the community should just know how safe validation will be regarding the answer to KYC.
Nobody is forcing you to kind of again to provide any information if you don't want to. But I can't say. Some of that I just don't know yet. But we just need to be sure that there are not a lot of parties colluded. But we already covered that.
Yep. Okay. Nami, who we're all very familiar with now, asks, and he asks his questions in I'm going to assume here in 3 parts. So let me sort of start from number 3 and work my way back. He says, my question is about the newly developed idea management system that Mitya presented. And then back to number 1, where he says, we could use Discourse and develop plugins for our needs. Why did you develop a new software? And then he continues, Discourse essentially gives us the basic requirements because it's open source. So we could have a lot of time and energy and step forward from that point. Isn't that the case?
Well, yeah. I cannot kind of comment for other people because it's not I didn't develop that personally. So, but to tweak the discourse into the requirements of the, it's not just to put a couple of buttons here and there connected with a couple of smart contracts and stuff like that. It's actually going much beyond that. So if you take discourse, it has like 70% of features which we don't need, and doesn't have 50% of features we do. In that, it's sometimes, and again, I'm very much against creating something from the scratch. But if you went, like if you see the, for example, Gitcoin and other platforms and platforms which are built around this more or less same kind of goals, I would say, it's all, you very quickly you realize that it simply it becomes, it just going different direction. The forum is the forum. The main functionality of the governance platform is not the forum. The forum is like 10% of that, and the main functionality lies in something else, in the management of the voting and the processes, the governance processes, groups of people, and so in that respect, discourse is not really answering these requirements.
All right. Again, thank you. Now, I don't see any new questions coming in on YouTube. So unless there are some that'll come in a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a few questions that were sent to us by folks that unfortunately weren't able to make it today. And hello to everybody from Korea. But unfortunately, Min was not able to make it. She had a late night meeting, and she asks a question. Now this question was already answered, but because it's posed, maybe you could just quickly summarize it again, Mita. She says, I have a question about the network delay that happened during the weekend. What happened to the network and what caused the network delay?
It's not a network delay, and I already answered that. But I can repeat. It's not a network delay. Nothing happened to the network. The old set of validators continued to validate until the elections. The elections stuck because of the bug in the elector contract, and I don't want to go deep into that right now. I think it becomes really technical, but basically, so that's all. And as I said, yeah, it obviously means that, and we knew that these contracts are just given to us, like a C++ node, which was developed by Telegram. And these contracts were developed by Telegram as well. So, you know, to summarize, it's okay. I don't know. It happens. It's nothing really on this stage. I mean, that's why we have this stage. That's why we have a test network. That's why it's all happening on the test network. It's not affecting the main network. It cannot affect the main network currently. Once we have a fix for that, and this new smart contract developed and validated, formally verified, then we just simply use these contracts in the main network when the time comes. And that's it.
Okay. We have, I guess it's one question in two parts that comes from Mehdi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Mehdi, who runs the Iranian chat group. And I'm going to read what he wrote. Due to the fact that most service providers, sites, and activists in the field of digital currency do not cooperate with Iranian users due to the special circumstances surrounding Iran, and follow the sanctions imposed by the United States government, do you think we will have the same problem with free TON in the future? I mean, that's right.
Which is the most important. Same for Bitcoin, same for Ethereum. So we'd like to be in that category as soon as possible.
Yes. And he it goes on, but it's part of the same. At the moment, the free TON site does not open with an Iranian IP, and the SURF program does not connect to the server.
Yes, I can comment on that. Yeah, I can comment on that. We will fix that. It's before the mainnet launch, it should be fixed. The problem with that is because of the shortcuts we had to make. There is some Google databases used just to make it faster to develop. There are some Google databases that are used inside these products, and just a storage. So we are moving from this to the decentralized storage, a TON storage, and decentralized database. But there is still development need to be finished on that. Once it's done, then there will be no trace of Google in any of our applications. So then, of course, then you will only be kind of restrained by your country kind of cutting up some IPs, addresses of the nodes. But other than that, nothing really.
All right. So don't worry. Okay. That's it for foreign questions. We do have some new questions coming in on YouTube. Anne asks, what about contests that have finished, that have completed already? When will the results be published?
Yeah, this, I guess, question for me as well. In order to publish results, we should have those results, and we have juries which now is doing this first time, and we will have right after this governance call, we'll have another call of juries, and we'll try. I mean, it takes some time, so sorry for that. It's first time when people do this, and we'll get experience, and next time we'll be in faster, and probably on the new platform it will be even more faster. But at the moment, yeah, we're trying to structure that process. Again, it's decentralized process, so no saying like do this, so we cannot split the work. I mean, each jury should vote independently for each submission. So quite many people should learn new things. So give us some more time, please.
Yeah, it's growing pains, I think, is the term that's used. Growing pains. We're just starting out. Everything's going to be smooth in a little bit. How many space needs for node? Okay, how many space needs for node, and has it any auto clean DB function implemented?
It's, yeah, I mean, just ask that please in the chat, in the validators chat, in your language, and there are people who will definitely give you more explanation. I mean, technical details about that. But there are requirements for the node that are published, and you should follow them. There are like a disk requirements and the type of disk requirements. It should be SSD or NVMe, and so on, and the bandwidth requirements. So please follow that. Thank you.
All right, and I think we have one final question here that actually I skipped over. I apologize. It says, please explain a bit about the AVE amount recovered in the AVE stake. I was inclined to use the word avenue because I'm used to seeing AVE as avenue, but I'm sure that's not what it is. Can someone please comment on that?
I think that's average, maybe. So I don't know what is AVE.
Usually means avenue, but I'm sure that's not what it is. So yeah, maybe average amount recovered, average stake.
There is a formula, and I think Sergei Zaitsev has published this formula, and he's on the call actually. Sergei, would you be able to publish the formulas into the chat, validators chats again, so there will be no more questions about that? That there is a formula.
Okay, let's do it, because actually it was from the first version of the contest, and actually it's not average but total amounts recovered and staked now.
Mm-hmm. So if you can
update the formulas.
Okay, so please do that. Please do that, and please post the formula onto the.
It's updated in our internal documents. Just need to update on the forum site.
Yeah, people cannot read our internal documents. Not yet. So please do. So okay. So guys, we will update this information and we'll share the formula with you on the forum and in chats. So you can, yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I mean, that's it. There's no more questions. I think we covered everything. I think it was a very good call. And I want to just thank everybody for coming, especially our folks with from different geographies. We love having you. It actually shows what we're trying to accomplish, which is we want this thing to be global. So again, thank you. We'll see you again on Tuesday next week. For those of you who are Russian speaking, we're going to have our weekly call tomorrow at I always forget. I don't participate in the Russian podcast. So if somebody wants to just remind me what time that is tomorrow and broadcast that. What time is it?
Are we having a Russian call tomorrow? Or we have
Is it weekly or is it bi-weekly?
Validators live stream tomorrow to start the contest.
Yes, bi-weekly, but exactly. Tomorrow we'll have a live stream for the contest, so probably it's not practical to have two.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, and tomorrow on the stream, I think you can, again, you will be able to post the questions in any language. We will be happy to answer in any language. So let's make it, because there is really nothing, like it's just an open stream, so we can make it a multilingual stream for everyone to come, the validators to come, and then let's make it 2-in-1, 5-in-1.
201.
Wonderful.
It's more, it's almost 401. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. All right.
There.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. We love having you and we love running these things. So we'll see you again next time. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.